Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Start of December, start of summer here in Australia. I've been really looking forward to that. This month, I've got my theme for my pens in use, and what I thought I'd do is, instead of theming around the pens, I'm theming around the inks. And what I'm doing is I'm using only inks from last year's Inkvent calendar, so the 2021 Inkvent calendar. The pens then, I've really picked them to fit with the inks, whereas normally I pick the pen and then fit the ink to it. Join me down on the mat, let's jump on in and take a look at this month's pens and inks. Welcome down to the mat. So, pens in use December of 2022, Inkvent 2021 inks. There we go, and I do love the sheen that I get in my title ink. What I've tried to do this month is I've brought out 3 pens that I don't use as often as I really should do, so I thought let's get them out, let's use them. And then I've got 3 pens which are quite often in my rotation. The first pen, one of those I don't use as often, this is a Jinhao 992. This was a massive $2. And I've got loads of these because at $2 you can't go wrong. The cap screws off. Then we've got, it's a fairly small nib. I would think maybe, possibly even number 4 size. I don't know, it could be a number 5, but I need to look at that to really measure it up. Got a cartridge converter in here. You can see the ink there. Very, very nice colour, very pale colour. That's why it's in this orangey coloured pen. Fits nice in my hand, but is not comfortable to use unposted. When I post it, it's quite nice. And as you see, my fingers could do with being a little bit wider, but $2, who's going to complain? So we'll do some writing. So we've got here a Jinhao 992. Helps if I can write these words properly, doesn't it? It's got a fine nib. This is really, to me, one of the downsides of these pens because they only come with these fine nibs, and I like broader nibs. I said $2. You can't go wrong. The ink, well, obviously it's by Diamine because they're all Inkvent inks, and this one is called Peach Punch. It's a standard ink. Not a colour that I would generally use. You know, it's a bit like, I don't know, maybe it's like an apricot-y type colour. You know, you can see where the word peach is coming from. I am seeing, though, a little bit of shading as I'm writing. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute, still a teeny bit of smudging, but not too much. So this is the Jinhao 992 with Diamine Peach Punch. My second pen, I'm actually going to fetch that 992 back in for a second. My second pen is by PenBBS, and it's a PenBBS 308. Why I've left the 992 in there, yes, there's a size difference, but the shape, very, very similar. So I just thought I'd highlight that. This is in the Mojito colour. Nice translucent green colour. We've got a bigger nib on here. We've got a number 6 size nib. This is the PenBBS nib. And again, if I can take this off, it's a cartridge converter. The fittings, all plastic, all acrylic. We've got a couple of O-rings there. This is a pen, if you wanted to, you could eyedropper. And with the transparent nature, I think that would actually look quite nice. I can use this pen comfortably unposted. Will post, but it posts quite high, makes it feel quite long to me. But I'm quite happy with this unposted. So we've got here a PenBBS 308. Again, only comes with a fine nib. We've got a big jump in price. 28 Aussie dollars. So again, fairly reasonable in terms of pricing. The ink, obviously it's Diamine. And it's called Harmony. Now, I struggle with this ink. It looks very grey, but there's a lot of purple tones with it. I'm also expecting, because of using this ink in this pen, to get into trouble from the loving wife, because she likes it when the pen and the ink match colour. But I thought, yeah, we've got a nice contrast there anyway. And it does look more on the grey side to me, I say, just with hints of purple. Drying times, so we got immediate, 10 seconds. That's dried off a lot quicker than we were seeing with the peach punch. 30 seconds. Finally, the 1 minute test. Yeah, another one. Teeniest bit of smudge, but nice and dry. The 308, this is another one of those pens that I don't use very often. And it's a shame because it's actually quite a nice looking pen. So that's the PenBBS 308. Move the page up slightly. The next pen, this is the third of those less frequently used pens. And this one is by Moonman or Marjon. And this is the S5. This is an eyedropper filled pen. It takes quite a lot of ink. Now we've got a flat bottom. It will stand up. It's got a flat top as well, so we can stand it up the other way. In a way, the way this is, you know, it comes out, then it goes back in, then a little flare at the bottom. It reminds me a bit of a fish. There's no clip on this. There is this little diamond which acts like a little bit of a roll stop. It does seem to work, but obviously if you push it hard, it's not going to go too far. One of the things I don't like with this is the section. To me, the section, everything else is transparent. Why isn't that? Why is it this, I've got to be honest, this horrible colour? It's another small nibbed pen. There we go, there's the nib. Unlike the other two though, this came with a broad nib. So we're going from the fines to the broads. So we've got here, I'm going to call it Moonman because when I bought it, that's what it was called. It's the Moonman S5. Broad nibbed. It cost a whopping 37 Aussie dollars. The ink, Diamine Yuletide. It's a nice Christmassy named ink. I like the colour of this ink. Again, it's a standard ink. So there's no sheen, there's no shimmer. Same as the other two. They've all been standard inks so far. I love the colour. It's nice. It's like it's a blue, but there's lots of hints of green in there. Maybe you could say it's a tealy type colour. Let's look at drying times. So we go immediate. Looks quite dry though as a combo. 10 seconds. Teeniest bit of a smudge. Just for completeness, I'm going to go for 30 seconds, but I am expecting it to be completely dry. Yeah, 30 seconds and that's dry. So this is the Moonman S5 and Diamine Yuletide. The fourth pen for this month, this is where I get to the more regularly used pens. This is a TWSBI Diamond 580. This is in the transparent colour. Piston filler, you can see the piston there. Takes up about a third of the body. The nib, it's a TWSBI broad nib. Now, one of the things I'm not certain with this is the ink. The ink is a shimmer and a sheen. That's why I'm actually sat here agitating it before I start writing. I'm not sure how much the shimmer's going to work. The sheen I'm not too bothered about, but will that shimmer start to clog the feed? That's one of the things I'm going to be looking at this month. So I just threw the cap there on the floor. We'll do some writing. We've got a TWSBI, Diamond 580 with a broad nib. We do have a big jump in price. It almost doubles from the previous one because we're up to 72 Aussie dollars. The ink, well, obviously it's Diamine and it's Winter Spice. This is a nice brown ink. I love this ink. I can see a lot of shading coming through. Now, let's see if we can see any of that sheen and shimmer. So, it's a brown ink. There is some green sheen to it, but certainly up here on the TWSBI and the diamond words, hopefully this will come through. We've got a lot of blue shimmer to it. So we've got, you know, on the D there, we've got it on the I, the A, the a bit of the N. Seeing a lot of that shimmer at the moment. Again, I need to look at it when I'm doing it for my note taking though. Drying times. There's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute, still got a bit of a smudge, but more or less dry. What I'm going to do, let's just see again, can we see any of that sheen and shimmer? Now it's had time to dry, look at that. Wow, we've got loads of that blue coming through. Really pretty, really nice. I can see where it gets that name, Winter Spice. You know, we've got the brown, which is like walking through the forest. We've got the green, things like the moss on the trees. But then with that pop of blue, I think that really spices that up. So this, it's the TWSBI Diamond 580 with Diamine Winter Spice. Just going to move up the paper again. Got room now for the last two pens. Pen number 5 is by Laban, and it's a Laban 325. So the TWSBI made in Taiwan, the Laban made in Taiwan. This is in Cambridge Brown. I love the colours here in the body. So we've got, you know, there's an orangey colour. We've got some chatoyancy. We've got different shades of brown. We've got like whites and creams. Really pretty. And then it's tailed by these solid brown chunks. Aren't too sure about that. I'd like to have seen this colouring going all the way through the pen, but I'm just picky. There we go. We've got a number 6 size nib. It's a Laban nib. It's a broad. I do like my broad pens. This one, cartridge converter. There we go. Now, I did with this, because I've had to fill all these converters using a syringe, I did have problems getting this one to start writing, so that's why the converter piston is down a bit, because I needed to prime the feed. And let's put this together and we'll do a bit of writing. So we've got a Laban. This is a pretty ink. 325. Broad. Again, we're doing another jump in price, almost doubling again. 146 Aussie dollars. The ink, Diamine. Brandy Snap. This is a very nice ink. I really like this. Look at all the shading we've got coming through. It's a standard ink, so there's no sheen, there's no shimmer. It does what it says on the box though. It's Brandy Snap, and it does remind me of Brandy Snaps. Makes me actually want to get some. I might have to go to the shops later and buy a packet. Look at drying times. So there's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Almost dry there at 30 seconds. 1 minute. Yep, after a minute there, nice and dry. So this is the Laban 325 and Diamine Brandy Snap. The final pen. It's December, it's Inkvent, it's Advent, it's the run up to Christmas. Can't do that without using the Benu Talisman. The actual pattern is called Dragon's Blood. To me, it should be called Christmas. We've got the sparkly green, we've got the sparkly red. Just reminds me of Christmas ornaments on a tree. Absolutely love the colouring of this pen for this time of year. Let's take the cap off and we'll take a look inside. Here we've got what I think is potentially it's a number 5 size nib. Could be number 6. I'm never 100% certain on it. It's a Schmidt nib. That's the difference between this and the others. If I can open it up, here we've got a cartridge converter. You can see there we've got a shimmer in this pen. I'll have to give it a good agitate in a minute. Got this blue shimmer, really pretty ink. The ink is one of my favourite inks and I have to ration it. Now, I did have a little bit of adventure when I filled this pen. I filled it up, I stood it on end, which is what I normally do. That lets the ink soak down from the converter and into the feed. When I opened it up, it had lost all the ink from the converter into the feed. So I had to fill it up again. I wasted a hole full of ink. What I found was I must have taken the nib unit out before when I cleaned it. And I can't put it in tight enough because once I tightened it up, I had no problems then since I filled it. That was about 3 days ago. But it's something I'm going to monitor as the month goes on. Christmas pen though. I absolutely love the colour of this pen. So we've got a Benu. Oh, I didn't agitate it. Let me just do that now. This is a problem when I'm using these shimmer inks. I have to remember to agitate the pen if I want to see everything. So we should hopefully see shimmer and sheen in this ink. Okay, hopefully that's had enough. So we've got a Benu Talisman. Broad nib. Price-wise, a little bit more than the other one. 167 Aussie dollars. I've got to be honest, I do think it was worth it though. I absolutely love the colouring of this. The ink, so Diamine, we know that already. This one is Garland. And I think this pen and ink, the combination of the two is so nice. So with the Garland, we've got the dark teal, maybe greeny type colour. I often see a red sheen, but then we've got that blue pop with the shimmer. Not sure if we can see any of that yet. We may need to give this, we'll give this a couple more minutes to dry. Let's do our drying times whilst it's doing that. There's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Yeah, after a minute there, we're nice and dry. Can we see any of that sheen and shimmer now? Hopefully we can try and catch something here and see loads of the shimmer there. I'm having to try and watch this on my camera preview to try and see it. But yeah, definitely seeing lots of that blue shimmer coming through. Not seeing as much in the way though of the red sheen. Maybe that's something that I need to explore again as the month goes on. So this is the Benu Talisman and Diamine Garland. Now this month I'm going to be doing a little bit different than most of my other months. These first 5 pens, so from the Jinhao 992 all the way down to the Laban 325. Can I get them all in camera? Yes, there we go. If they run out of ink, I'm not going to refill them. I do have another 2 pens inked up, ready to come in with some other Inkvent inks. With the Talisman, I'm just going to fetch that in again. As I say, to me, just the colouring alone, this is a Christmas pen. This is a pen I want to use throughout the whole of December. So if this one runs out of ink, I'll fill it again with the same Diamine Garland. But the other 5, if they run out, they'll just be replaced by one of the other 2 pens that I've got ready to go. Let's get this out of the way. I'll fetch in the pens for one final look. So here we've got the pens I'm going to be using during December of 2022. A Jinhao 992 with Diamine Peach Punch. A PenBBS 308 with Diamine Harmony. A Moonman or Mahjong S5 with Diamine Yuletide. The TWSBI Diamond 580 with Diamine Winter Spice. The Laban 325 with Diamine Brandy Snap. and the Benu Talisman with Diamine Garland. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What pens and inks are you planning to use this month? Are you using a theme, or are you just using pens that you like the look of? Please drop a comment down below. How do you pick the pens and inks that you use? Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.